This is Heather Wells, and thank you for joining me for this hopefully hyper-realistic candy cane. I'm using the Prismacolor Premier colored pencils, Strathmore colored pencil paper, one CaranDache Luminance white, which you don't even really need, and I ended up having to use a gel pen at the end, but I'll discuss that later. Before any of you click away, please listen for a few minutes. I want to discuss reference photos and what I'm doing, then what I'm offering for you guys to use as a free tool. That being said, let me give you this first color here. I'm using number 1034 to map in all of my red stripes. I'm coloring them a little bit deeper and darker at the edges of the candy cane, so that way it looks like those will be a little bit further, a little bit more recessed to help the candy cane look round. Now into the reference photos. So I'm going to be taking several reference photos for every single drawing project that I'm going to be doing here from in on out. There will be a companion blog post to go along with this. All the materials will be listed in the blog, and it will be listed in the YouTube video as well, so you could find the materials both places. Now the reference photos will be on the blog at some point. Maybe I'll put them on Pixabay as well, but in the meantime, just know that any of the pictures that you find on my blog, I'll tell you right out there in that blog post too, you're free to use them, where if you do artwork based off of my photos, you don't have to worry about a cease and desist or copyright infringement. You can use those for your drawings. If there's a special circumstance, like if I do a portrait of somebody, I'll let you know, and I probably won't post a picture, just so that way I'm not violating anybody else. That sounds weird. I don't violate anybody. Anyhow, you guys know I kind of get off track and off topic. Anyhow, just when you do a picture, you want to be able to sell it at the end if you're super proud of it. You want to be able to make prints or make cards and give them as gifts. So I want that to be an option for you. Also, with how much time it takes, you know, maybe you want something that's slightly different than what I'm doing. So with me taking multiple pictures on the blog, you know, it could be the same subject, but it might be a different position. That way it feels a little bit more yours, and like you don't have to worry about you and I having the exact same image that looks exactly the same with the same colors if you don't want that. So feel free to use the images on my blog posts as we go forward. That's what they're there for. When I'm taking the photos, I want to do it in a way where it has high contrast, where it shows where the highlights are and where it shows the shadows. And I'm hoping that as time goes by, I can become a better photographer, but I'm focusing on a higher contrast and sharpness, so that way we can get more realistic looking drawings, because I hear the contrast is very important. And please feel free, you know, to make suggestions. I'm on limited funds as far as being able to invest in this art right now, but I do have a couple polychromos. I did get, I think, a 40 pack or something of the CaranDache Luminance. I just bought some Ohuhu, is that how you say it? Alcohol markers. And I, of course, have my 136 Prismacolors and a small box of the Goldfaber and a small box of the Polychromos. The Polychromos I'm very excited about using. This next color that's going in is color number 922 of the Prismacolors. So I know right now it definitely doesn't look very realistic, and notice that I have it darker on the edges and lighter on the inside. Since I am a novice, you could definitely play with doing them however you want. I don't have the ink dropper tool. Is that what it's called? The tool that artists talk about, where you click on a on a portion of your picture and it tells you what colors to use. I don't have that. I kind of don't want to use that, at least for a while. I don't have it installed. I don't know what it's called. At some point maybe, but I kind of want to learn getting the right colors on my own to a degree first. And I have to fess up here that I traced my photo reference. The way that I did that was I used a number 4B graphite pencil, and I used the side of it, the tip, in order to completely cover the back of my image of my candy cane. Then I placed it right side up on my drawing paper, and I traced all the lines, which gave me a drawing, that's right on top of it. Then I lifted some of the graphite out with a kneaded eraser, and that's what my drawing was. The reason I did that was I'll use a separate sketchbook for, composition work where I want to do a rough sketch just to see how good or how bad my sketching is. But for the hyperrealism, everything that I've heard is that you really need an accurate drawing, otherwise it's not going to look real. So keeping that in mind, I didn't want to mess this up first try out of the gate, so I decided to trace, and I'll just do side projects of sketching just to build up my drawing skills. But all of this coloring and rendering I'm doing just to try to get the colors right. Now I'm using a yellow, and I'm using it not only in the white areas, but in the upper portions of the white and red stripes as well, like the little areas, and the red where it tends to kind of be popping out more closer to you, so not at the edges so much. I know it sounds weird, but that is color 914 of the Prismacolors. And so this next color that I'm using is like a lavenderish sort of color. It's number 1022. And then I'm going to follow it up by kind of mauve color. That's 1019. And this is for the shadows. And over that, I'm going to be doing a 1070, which is kind of like this warm gray. Anyhow, there's so much that I want to discuss with you guys. I want to do a live stream once a month at some point where maybe we could do one of these projects together for like an hour a month. And I don't know if that would drive everybody crazy, just a video being so long. 22 minutes is a long time for this, but it took me 8.5 hours to draw this candy cane. So this candy cane is 8.5 hours of coloring, and I think 22 minutes is a pretty good amount of time, because it took so many hours to shrink this down, and I'm not tech savvy, guys. So please bear with me as I learn, and I'll try to get them better, and I'll try to grow. I know that people don't tend to like very long videos, but I want you to be able to see what I did as well. That's my warm gray in there. And so I want to do a whole bunch of drawings. I eventually want to get into the animals and the people, but I want to do holiday drawings. I want to do some fun stuff that would be good companions for the polymer clay that I used to do. The places that I go now, I have a Joann's ETC next to me and a Michael's, and I've got to tell you, since the repackaging of the Sculpey Primos, I don't know if they changed the formulas or not. I haven't played with it since the pandemic, but the packaging has changed. Primo was always the better of those, and I honestly don't know if they changed the formulas or not. This guy is 1018 in the Prismacolors, and I have the pinks. I'm going especially harder I'm not putting a lot of pressure, but I'm adding more layers to the edges of the candy cane, and building up a little bit more of that dimension and depth. So you can see how that's going. That darker red is 924. 923 is also a good one for it. And then you can just see as I build and build. Sorry about the background noise. I needed a drink for my throat here. And just getting lost while I'm watching my drawing. There's a soft warm gray. You'll be able to tell by the colors which ones they are in the description box. From here I just keep going back and forth an awful lot. And here you see me blending it with the Odorless mineral spirits. Oh, I forgot to mention that when I came on, but it is in the description box. But I'm using the Mona Lisa, let me read it, Odorless Paint Thinner. And it works really well for me. I keep it in a little container that is locked, and it's like kind of like these little snap locks, and then I just pop them open on the side when I need it, so it's open only when I need it. And I use a tiny little paintbrush so I have control and get it small areas. And I go from the lightest color first, so I really do the light areas, and then I clean the brush really well between colors. But I've been using this paintbrush for the whole piece, and then from the cupcake that I did before. But I really like how the Odorless paint thinner kind of makes it look a little bit more like a painting. And then I go over, of course, in the colored pencils as soon as the Odorless mineral spirits are dry. Now I'm happy to share everything that I'm doing, but just know that I am not an authority on colored pencil, on drawing. I am really just learning here and using my kind of intuition and feeling about what colors I want to use. I'm not following any sort of a guide or chart. Well, not anything that anybody told me. If you look to the very right in the screen, you'll see like I have a sample where I mapped out some of the colors I was using. So I already knew what kind of colors I wanted to use. And it's just going in and trying to replicate. And I did my little sample swatches on the little tiny mini notebook of the colored pencil paper. I grabbed this because it says colored pencil paper, and I was really wanting to give it my best go when I was starting to do this. But I noticed in my cupcake and also in my candy cane here and the roses, I've noticed that as you build up color, it seems to be harder to get it to lay down. It doesn't seem like I was able to add a ton of layers, and I was really light-handed. So I don't know if this is the paper I'm going to permanently stick with. I do want to use it up, so I'm probably going to use it for projects that are little objects like this. But going forward, if I want to do a full background and do more complicated pieces, I'm probably going to use other paper like the Bristol or even the Fabriano. I'm happy to take any sort of suggestions for paper, for materials, for subject matters. If there's certain things that you would like to learn how to draw or paint, please let me know. I'm not an authority on it, but I will need ideas. And I want to push what we can learn here so we can really, grow together. So I'm really happy to take all the advice you can give. Please let me know if you guys would like to do live streams, because I think that would be so fun. I would really like to do some live streams if it's okay and it wouldn't drive you guys crazy. I would like to do something around 20 minutes for most of the pieces, just like this. So there's enough that you can see and get an idea and fast forward and rewind, but without it being several hours. And I don't know how to live stream, although I want to learn. And I'm happy to take suggestions for software or I guess platforms in order to live stream, and then where to post those. Then also I would like to, at the very end of these and having these up, I'd like to shorten it even further to like a 2-minute speed drawing for those of you who want to just see it quick but don't necessarily want to do it, but just see it super fast. It's starting to make sense more. You can see that I have I have pale lavender, an icy blue, whites, yellows, mauves, deep reds. Black cherry is one that I use in the darkest areas. I really like the black cherry. I don't remember the number of that one right now. I use black raspberry in there, and then the bright reds. So, yeah, please let me know if any of these ideas sound fun. Let me know what ideas you have for drawing for holidays. I want to do some conversation heart stuff for Valentine's Day. I do want to do a beach Christmas coming up. It might be a little specific for a lot of you to want to do, but that's the next pictures I'll have up on my blog. And for that, because it's a full piece, I kind of thinking of I'll do the maybe I'll do the Ohuhu markers. I have a mixed media paper from Fabriano, so I think I'm gonna play with doing some swatches. And speaking of swatches, would you guys like videos of, you know, my opinions on paper or how I'm swatching things up? And I do kind of laminate them myself. Poor man's lamination, I guess, where I take pieces of shipping tape and I sandwich my swatches between them so it preserves it, so that way you don't have to worry about the paper tearing, getting damaged by water. It's a way to kind of keep and store those. So if you want to see that, I'm happy to show that. It's kind of like doing a flashcard, but a more stable way of doing it. And I've been doing those for years and years, but for other things. But I really I tend to do a lot of research. And, you know, I think it would be fun too. If there's something that I want to learn, like for instance, I want to do a project at some point using almost like a globe, a clear globe, like looking in a crystal ball. So I'm going to need to be able to do spheres with a very glassy look. And I have no idea how to do that. But if I, you know, am doing some studies beforehand, before I do that piece, you know, I might want to find somebody that does something similar, take my own photo references, but then watch their tutorial. And if I do that, would you guys enjoy, you know, being introduced to any of the videos and creators on YouTube that I'm watching in order to get my ideas of shadowing and highlighting and all of that good stuff? And then would you like, you know, color swatch videos and all of those good things? I figured with me not being really an authority and just really learning as I go, I think the more valuable ones will be this type of video where you get to see what I use, and then if there's certain things that you like, you could be like, oh, I really didn't like how this color turned out. I think I could do it without that. At least you get to see what I'm doing. So you could say, oh yes, I like this project, but I think I'll change this about it or that about it. So, you know, it's fun. You see some of those dark colors, the dark mauves, the black cherry, the black raspberry. I did not use any black. I'm just using very dark red, very dark purple. I had two colors of yellow, a pale yellow and a more medium yellow, but it's the light yellow I thought of more like a kind of a butter color, very light. And then the other one was, I don't want to say mustard color exactly, but it's, you can see it in the, it's like the third color in from the right now. But I used those two colors of yellow. I used just a little bit of that darker yellow. Most of it was the light colored yellow. The second one was just adding it at the edges of the lighter colored yellow just to give a little bit more depth. And then above my hand on the left, you can see a little bit of that white area. Most of that is colored pencil, but pretty soon here, you'll notice it brighter, and that's after I added the gel pen. I had to add the gel pen because I was using an X-Acto knife trying to lift it, but the X-Acto knife that I bought was broken when I got it. It wasn't like one that you twist in. It was an art one that it's already fixed inside. You can't adjust it. And it's rattly, so whenever I pressed on it, it would just wiggle around. So instead of buying another X-Acto or finding my receipt to return that and trade it, I ended up just grabbing a white gel pen because I had a white gel pen. And even though it makes it non-archival once you add that white gel pen after, this isn't something I'm going to be selling an original of. I want to make some prints and I want to sell it as little Christmas cards, but I'll keep it. I'll keep this picture. I mean, it's only going to be the very second picture I've ever finished. But I was hoping with how many layers here and the length of this that you could actually see like it really being done. Anyhow, it looks like it's time to wrap up, and I hope that you enjoyed here. I really am happy with how it turned out. Please leave me all your questions and comments